It's the rest of the SEC here on CBSSports.com, and Florida took the woodshed to a new meaning here against Florida State. 45-12 against the Seminoles, and the Gators still have not lost to Bobby Bowden with Urban Meyer as the head coach. And Spencer Tillman, as we say hello, hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz. Spencer Tillman called it. Tim Brando here as well. You called it on our preview when we were talking about this earlier in the week that you thought that they would go out and embarrass Florida State, and that's exactly what they did. But what you didn't say was that Tim Tebow would earn himself the Heisman. Now, a lot of people say that he has done that. 5 touchdowns in this game. He's got 52 on the season. But did he do enough to overcome those people that you have talked about numerous times throughout the season that will not vote for a sophomore?
Yeah, well, here's the thing for me. He's got my vote. I mean,
and you have a vote. Both of you have a vote.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be voting for Tim Tebow for obvious reasons. He's just done too much. He's been a factor in every game. Darren McFadden, with all due respect to last year's runner-up, was not a factor in every Arkansas game this year. And the problem, though, is I'm going to tell you I'm voting for him. I'm also going to tell you that it's my opinion that he will not win. And the reason is because of the electorate. You've got to remember those that are voting. For Tim Tebow as a sophomore to win would be like asking a red state, a very conservative state, to suddenly vote for Hillary Clinton for president. It's not going to happen, okay? So it all gets down to who your electorate is. And so sad but true fact, Chris Winkie at 27 didn't have to pay a price. But a sophomore does when you've got juniors and seniors. And let's not forget, Pat White, upperclassman. Chase Daniel, upperclassman.
Dennis Dixon,
these are all guys still playing.
McFadden, upperclassman.
But these are guys that are still playing with opportunities to impress before ballots.
Well, as for your part, I'm happy to know that you're going to be turning off the time machine, and that's good because it doesn't matter. We're in a new age in college football right now where the quarterback's role has changed and it's different anymore. So don't punish him just because he's young. I don't have any problem with the guy.
Not the most progressive in many ways, our sport. As much as we love college football, still not a very forward-thinking sport.
No.
People that are involved in the sports, very slow for change, very conservative. You know, the Big Ten still doesn't play after November the 18th. They wait 51 days. It'll never change. You know, Michigan won't play the Ohio State game at night. They won't change. Well, this electorate isn't going to change either.
And that's the same reason we don't have a +1 system, but that's for another time and another place. We'll probably talk about next week. We'll have to see how everything plays out. But another rivalry game in-state. Georgia Tech earlier today, and the Bulldogs 31-17, and Mark Richt now 7-0 against the Yellow Jackets. And we brought this up on the other SEC show here on CBSSports.com, but you guys both think that Georgia's playing the best football in the SEC, and they will not be in the SEC championship game.
Well, I was just really pleased to see that this Georgia ball club was continuing their success. No doubt during the course of their game, they got word that Kentucky came up short, but yet they continue to post points, and that was impressive to me.
I think this was the first time, too, in a month and a half that Noshan Marino didn't rush for over 100 yards. It was Thomas Brown that did most of the damage today. Mark Richt has absolutely changed the face of his program, and he did it at midseason when he played the psychology game at the game formerly known as the
game
outdoor blank party.
Whatever it is.
Well, there will be an outdoor party, but the game will be indoors, and that's next week. And LSU, Tennessee, and it's unbelievable what you're going to see in the SEC championship game on CBS next week. You're going to have 2 teams combined for 7 overtimes this week. LSU 3 and the lost
200 points.
200 points to LSU, Arkansas, and Tennessee, Kentucky. Tennessee's coming off 4 overtimes, but they won. LSU's coming off 3 overtimes, but they lost. Neither of these teams obviously can go on to play for the national championship. That's not going to happen. Obviously for Tennessee to get up and continue that momentum, for LSU, that energy may just completely be gone next week.
I think from an emotional standpoint, it'll be easier for Tennessee to get up for this game because there are fewer distractions for them. Both teams are going to be spent emotionally. But Les Miles, I will say this, for his style of play,
the new head coach of the University of Michigan,
it could be tailor-made for him because you'll be able to run straight through John Chavis' defense, the defensive coordinator for Tennessee. I mean, that looked like Swiss cheese. I mean, even though that Raphael Little didn't have a great game
not until the second half.
I agree with you. I agree. But over the course of the year, they've not been able to stop the run.
Fellas, I think one of the things you've got to remember about Les Miles is, and there's no doubt this week's going to be difficult because now you amp up the Michigan meter. And by the way, if they wanted to make things more uncomfortable for him now, they probably could go ahead because he's no longer in the national championship hunt. But here's the truth. He's not with an SEC title yet. He's won a lot of games. He's won no championships. This is an opportunity for him to get it. And frankly, they'd prefer LSU playing Tennessee to Georgia right now.
Yeah.
And this is an easier road to getting that SEC crown for Miles that he covets. With all the coaching news of this day, from Callahan to Franchione over Friday night,
yeah.
Orgeron, Miles now doesn't have nearly the pressure on him that he once did because all these other stories are breaking.
Yep.
So I think it takes some of the heat off of him. If he wants to go ahead and talk about Michigan, go ahead, say what you're going to do, and then go and play your game. I don't think the team is burdened with the Miles story as much because they're out of the national championship loop.
I think he's going to wait till after the game on Saturday, but I do think he will address it as soon as that's over.
Yeah,
there
I
are
agree.
6, as of this Saturday afternoon, Timmy was referencing it, there are 6 coaching vacancies, big schools, and Texas A&M and Nebraska and Michigan, obviously. You see them right there as of this Saturday afternoon. There are vacancies, but to read more about those and who may be going where, of course, check that out on CBSSports.com. Guys, we have one more week to go here.
All right.
And you're not done.
Keep an eye on Houston Nutt.
Of course he's not done. He has to get the last word.
You can't help it. You can't help it.
Anything else?
Keep an eye on Houston Nutt. And if he leaves Arkansas, it'll be because he wants to.
Of course, with a win over number 1, they cannot kick him out after what he did on Friday night. Folks, that's it for us. We'll see you next week. Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando.
Back to you, Vern.
It's been a long weekend here. We'll see you next week, folks. Take care.